so to find the kind of typology, or to make a speculation about the typology of super high rises in the future. So we resorted to this type of material that explains how as the structures grow taller, there are areas both in section and in plan that start concentrating in order to increase to the maximum the moment of inertia of the horizontal section of the tower, and therefore make it more resistant to lateral stresses. And out of this idea, we realized also by looking at other typologies, no matter how we organize the structure of the building, introduced in the original World Trade Center, the Sears Tower, where the plan became very big. You can see also how we look at other similar typologies in the Petronas Towers, where the mass has been broken already into two pieces to avoid this problem. So the idea here was to use the mass of construction in the original World Trade Center and split the towers apart in areas that were equal to the standard office plate in Manhattan at the moment when the attacks occurred, so that these towers, then, by linking them to each other, will increase the strength of the structure. So you can see basically what happened. We were stitching, let's say, or linking each tower every approximately 36 floors to the neighboring one, and then to the neighboring one in this kind of circular system, so that basically we will cut the bending span of the tower to just this quantum of 30 floors. So this is basically how the structure worked. Finally, we produced 6 towers that were repeating this movement at different heights, and this was producing, as a kind of typological evolution, it produced two things that are very alien to the traditional approach to high-rise, which is about minimizing, streamlining costs or optimizing costs, but also provide a better escape system and also a better access system to the building. So the other interesting thing about this project is, and that's why I bring it as a seed in pure state. It's almost a project. We always say this project, we think we will do it one day. The project is strong enough, the seed is strong enough to react to different environments. It's not formed by an idea, a kind of preconception of design. It's formed by addressing a number of parameters that are set that were set in the environment of the World Trade Center. So, for example, parameter number 1, it had to be the tallest structure, the tallest inhabited structure in the world. So we set a height of 500 meters as sufficient to become the tallest one. Parameter number 2 was the amount of construction that existed in the original Twin Towers, 880,000 square meters. Parameter number 3, the average lease area in Manhattan at the time of the attack. And parameter number 4, if you want, floor to ceiling height, standard floor to ceiling height between floors, which we set in 4.5 meters. So if you imagine you have 880,000 square meters, you divide them into 110 floors, which are basically the number of floors you need of 4.5 meters high to reach 500 meters. You divide that total floor plate in every level by the average lease area, which was about 1,300 square meters brutto. It gives you 6 towers. So here you see the relationship between the scheme, the structural scheme, potentially to use alternative egress or access cores into the building, tendency between the core and the scheme, and how it changes through the section. The facade is made also in a kind of isomorphic manner to the organization of the towers. So you can see that the facade is basically malleus that lean into each other to buttress each other, very much like the towers do between them. These are some images of the model and what will be the scale of it in Manhattan. Next project is a competition that we won recently to build the recording and rehearsing studios of the BBC Symphony Orchestra, Chamber Orchestra and Chorus in London, in the campus of the BBC, what is called White City, in this location. Basically, there is basically Ring Road A40 in London, and these are all the studios that the BBC basically has in London. And basically what is interesting about this project, also in comparison with the other one, this was fundamentally a problem of communicating the image of the BBC to the public. So it was an entirely different type of material, the one that we were growing the project with. It was a material that had to do with interpretation and with signification. And the way we started the project was, it was a building for music. We started thinking that music is fundamentally a distribution of acoustic events in time. And when you record this sequence of events, they come out in the form of a tape, of a band, of a ribbon. So we started thinking about the idea of ribbons or tapes as a material that will immediately communicate to the public what the building, what the function of the building was to be. Therefore, trying to become some kind of emblem of the BBC. So basically the building was imagined from the beginning as this tape, this band that was wrapping around the studio spaces, and that was producing, interestingly enough, 2 sides to the building. One side that was related with the possibility of watching directly or communicating directly the outside with the inside, what we call window side, and another one that was related perhaps to a screen, to the broadcasting, to the processing of material that is the other side of activities from the BBC. So we had windows and screens. On these 2 sides, an office building and the music center, it was not only the office building, but basically depending on how you place the bands, basically they will produce effects on the field that have to do with this broadcasting side or with this window side. So that is the way that these 2 buildings that were made with bands somehow structured the site. There was another very important decision in the location of the music center. Obviously, you could have located the music center anywhere within the site, which was the visibility from the main areas of the surrounding site, from the highway. So what is the visual field from the highway? You see now in the animation how the 2 buildings will somehow become a kind of emphasis in the silhouette of these kind of flat studio buildings that characterize the BBC campus. And from the other main traffic artery, which is this road, and the tube station that serves the area. So that was the reason why basically we decided to locate the music center in principle in an unlikely position, because it's the most noisy position for a music building. But the BBC wanted to make from this building an icon, and then try to solve the acoustic problems technically in the second stage of the project. So this is basically the way we place the two buildings, also producing some spaces in between. Some of the ideas that we had for the buildings was that they had to be as compact as possible to liberate as much as possible public ground in order to produce this kind of checker system of public grounds. See now in these images how the building would relate to the neighboring buildings and the kind of relationship. Also the fact that this kind of moved slightly off the grid of the existing campus to become more of an object, hence